Hello,
All right.
we are live, and I would like to introduce a very special person. This is Nova. I know that I've been trying to advertise her for a very long time, and so this is her moment to shine, and she'd like to come on here and speak about various different important topics that need to be discussed. And so I would like to give her that opportunity to speak. And I hope that everybody watching will enjoy the podcast. So let's get into it.
Okay. Let me see if I could tilt this camera this way just a little bit. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So occasionally I may have to stand up a little bit.
Right.
Uh, because I can't. Okay. I'm going to have the prop like this. All right. Hello, everyone. Okay. So I wanted to touch base about Latin History Month because I felt like this was a holiday that was much deserved and need to speak about. And due to Hispanic or Latin History Month, which ended in October 15th but began on September 15th. It was um it was first recognized back in 1960, but officially it was not honored until sometime back in 1988. So, but yes, see, so when the first thing I want to touch base is Latin History 101. Now, many of you, I'm not sure, there is another um, note that was said about Latin history by the famous comedian John Leguizamo. And he has a little show that talks much more in depth history of which goes back to Spanish roots. And I feel that's very important because And I love the fact that he did that because, I mean, not many of us know about where our roots originally came from. And those roots haven't been touched on. At least they weren't mentioned in any of the US history books. At least not when I was going to school. It wasn't mentioned. I mean, it's as if we kind of just fell off the boat. And we've been around for 4 centuries. And when people think of Latin culture, they think of just culture and food and Cinco de Mayo, but that's not what really we're about. We're about much more than just food and culture and drinks and all that. We have a history too, just like so many others. And it's just very unfortunate that we're not brought about as much. Now, I have a very famous quote by a teacher who taught in middle school. And actually, there was a film about him too called Stand and Deliver. It's very, excuse me, it's a very good movie. His quote, it reads, "One of the greatest things you have in life is that no one has the authority to tell you what you want to be. Respect yourself and respect the integrity of others as well. The greatest thing you have is your self image, a positive opinion of yourself. You must never let anyone take away from you." And I feel like that is a very good quote. Now, as far as for Latins, we Latinos, we make up at least 63.7 million of the Hispanic population, making us the largest ethnicity group in the United States. That percentage wise is 19.1% of the total population of the United States. Now, as stated before, we have traced back more than 4 centuries ago when Spain conquered Mexico and made it a colony. April 2nd, 1513, Juan Ponce de Leon had landed in Florida coast searching for the Fountain of Youth and would return in 1521 to establish a colony. I believe I have visited that Fountain of Youth. when I used to live in Florida, close to St. Augustine. And there's also it talks a little bit briefly about Juan Ponce de Leon, but also that the Fountain of Youth itself, they say it can make you euthanized forever. So it's a great touristic spot too to go and visit in St. Augustine. They also have La Castillo de San Marco, which also has a lot of history as well. March 16th, 1836. After 13 days of battle, the Mexican president, General Antonio Lopez, from Santa Ana with 1,000 plus Mexican soldiers stormed the Alamo, killing most of the Texas soldiers inside. 1846 through 1848. Mexican American War takes place. A dispute is over border control following Americans' annexation of Texas. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo ends the war, setting a border at Rio Grande River between Texas and Mexico. Now, here's another thing I'd like to, well, here's another event that also happened. And it was in 1898, April 21st through December 10th of 1898. The U.S. declares war against Spain with major campaigns fought in Cuba and the Philippines. The Spanish American War fought the Treaty of Paris. It was signed granting Cuba's independence. But again, where is that mentioned in the United States history books? December 17th, 1928. Octaviano Ambrosio Lazaro became New Mexico's first Hispanic senator. Now, I did briefly quote about Cinco de Mayo. So, Cinco de Mayo is for us. I mean, for the United States, I'm not sure why they would categorize this as just, a festive day because Cinco de Mayo really doesn't signify, you know, what happened. You see, Mexican Independence Day falls on September 27th, 1821. That for us meant that basically Mexico had won their independence against Spain. And the battle lasted for 10 years. 500 Spaniards and 2,200 Indians were killed. So, again, not sure why Cinco de Mayo was created as a holiday for us because that's not really a holiday for us. Not at all. And another holiday also that we celebrate the most, especially in Mexico nowadays, is a Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. And that's actually on October 31st. Every year we celebrate. And basically what we do is we honor the dead. Aunts, uncles, grandfathers. What we'll do is in Mexico itself, we'll go to each of the gravestones and basically, like my grandmother, for example, because she passed away close to Cinco de Mayo. And what happened was what she liked is she liked tamales because they were sweet. And even when she didn't really like sometimes she would see vendors like the little kids go out selling tamales for ciento y pico or something like that. But she would be like, oh, okay, well, let me give these kids some money because, they're out in the streets all day, selling food. And let me give them at least some money to buy them candy or something. And sometimes she wouldn't eat them. She would just keep them in the fridge. But other times, on a good day, she would eat those tamales. But like, if I were to go visit my grandmother right now in Mexico, I would give her some tamales on her gravestone plus some flowers. And that's what most of part of Mexico does is we honor them by lighting up a candle and giving them their favorite food that they loved the most when they were still alive and living on this earth and some flowers. Um, but to go on is again, this is never mentioned anywhere and not in the history books at all. And it's slim to none. That's how much we're mentioned at all. I have another date. On August 24th, 1821, Mexico won their independence from Spain. And that's when they signed the Treaty of Cordoba. That's also honoring the Independence Day. Contributions that Hispanics have been through. They've been in World War II. They've been in both actually World War One and Two. They served in the Civil War, and they also participated in the Vietnam War. When it came to World War II, 300,000 Mexicans served in the army. 13 medals of honor were awarded to those Hispanics. Also, they were in the 158th Regiment in combat of Hispanics. Again, that's never mentioned whatsoever. 200,000 Hispanics served in World War One. Where is that mentioned? Because I never seen it.
And
170,000 Hispanics had served in the Vietnam War. Again, that's not mentioned in the history books either. In 1993, there was a Hispanic lady that went to space. She also became the director of NASA. Her name was Elena Ochoa. But again, that's not mentioned at all. My very famous, well, actually, there was a movie about him that came out, I think, sometime this past year. His name was Richard Montañez. He was the first Mexican to ever come up with the smallest idea. See, he started off as a janitor working for the Frito Lay company. Now, he had an idea of mixing chips with some hot sauce and converting it into what they know as Mexicans' hottest new snack in the world. See, at first he thought that Frito Lay, the company, wouldn't take him seriously. But at first they laughed at him, called him, told him that, oh, he's just a janitor. He don't know what he's talking about. But no, he actually went up there, spoke about, that these chips are what bring culture into food, that make the food, not only does it embrace our heritage and what we are known and stand for, but it also tells us about where we're coming from as Latinos itself. So So Richard Montañez, he pitched the idea of those chili, what do you call those Cheeto flamin' Cheetos? That's what the idea was called, was flamin' hot Cheetos. And not only that, but he became an executive working for Frito Lay because of that idea.
days off.
Joseph Joseph Hernandez. He was the first Hispanic member of Congress to serve during the 17th Congress until March 5th, 1823. In 1848, he became the mayor of St. Augustine. Roberto Clement. He was the first Hispanic to win the World Series as a starting player. And then also, there were two Mexican painters. There was a movie, well, about one of them. I'm not sure about the other one, but he was mentioned briefly in the movie as well. Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera. They were both two painters. One of them had a life, well, she basically what happened was with her art, she experienced, she put a life experience, her own life experience into these works of art, creating what she thought would both be both her Hispanic, her Mexican heritage, but she also had another heritage as well. She was she was British, I think. as far as for from what I know so far. But she had a second heritage, and she put those ideas in one single painting. Now her paintings are a little bit out of there, but her paintings put Mexican culture into them. Same thing with Diego Rivera. But he had an impressionism artistic view about his paintings. So, but still, both styles created Mexican art back in the day. And that's what influenced painting itself. So, with that being said, how is all this not mentioned in the books again?
Doesn't make any sense.
Hmm. It does not make any sense at all. But as stated before, I'm not sure why is it that we're shortlisted because like I said, I didn't knew going to school in middle school, I learned about the Alamo Texas War. But like I said, it wasn't like we Mexico, when it came to Mexico, yes, we did serve in that war, but at the same time, we were briefly mentioned. It's like, what happened? Did we disappear? Did we, you know, did we die? I mean, it's not mentioned at all. It just says, "Oh, by the way, Texas, we won the Alamo," and that's it. Never does it say anything else about the Mexicans and what happened, and and then, I mean, what and how many served, whether they won honor of badges, whether none of that was ever mentioned at all when it came to Hispanic history. And like as stated before, I mean, we have famous presidents. I mean, we have, you know, I mean, this is America. And, we, in the quote, I mean, stated before that we have every right to, come into this country and we're just like everybody else trying to make a living, trying to, you know, make a difference in this world, just like Richard Montañez did, you know? And, I mean, at first, it took guts to do what he did, to pitch an idea. But something so small, something that very small, could turn into something so big that can influence the world. Many people dream of being astronauts, teachers, um, business executives of a big company like Frito Lay. But but it's like everybody else. Not everybody like everybody decides to keep it so hush hush. Why is that? We didn't just fall off the boat. We didn't just, oh, suddenly we're here one day and then next we not.
It's true.
We are here. We exist,
Many.
you know? And we're not just, famous for restaurants like Taco Bell and um and other Hispanic, and other Americanized, I'm gonna say it like that,
On
restaurants.
like cilantro, Cinco de Mayo, and you know.
Basically, oh, and my personal favorite. Um, hold up, Chipotle.
Oh, I didn't know you were a fan of Chipotle.
I'm not, but I have someone close to me that does love Chipotle.
Oh, oh, well, interesting.
But as far as for basically the history that I've stated itself, you know, what other what questions do you have for me?
Well, let's see. Let's look at the questions. Do you see any questions on your screen?
Not that I know of, but everybody has a chance to have their own opinions and their own say so as far as for what my views are. But as stated before, these are just facts that these are dates. These are just events, that we have, that we Hispanics, Latinos themselves have, we've been around for a very, very long time. And it's up to it's up to us to go ahead and still keep making a difference and fighting for that dream. Whether we want to become baseball, basketball, work for, or become the first astronaut to go into space. As stated before, we are trying to make a difference in this world. We're not just here just to take away your jobs, or have, slurs said about us, because that's not what we're here for. We're here, to make a difference in this world. We're here to make a paycheck just like everyone else, you know? And we're hard workers. I mean,
Definitely.
I have met some very incredible Hispanic women over the course of my time, and they have told me stories about how, I came to this country, illegally. I came to this country, seeking work, because where I come from, we don't have opportunities, like we do back home.
There's not a
I mean,
there's not as many opportunities in Mexico compared to America, and I think that's why a lot of Hispanics and people of the Latin culture come to America to try to, like you said, make a difference and work hard. And there are a bunch of people that work hard, Hispanic and Latin cultured people that work hard that aren't really recognized. But I recognize that they, I mean, Americans need them, really, if we're being honest.
right, right, they do. And I feel like it's important that we learn where we come from. I mean, about your roots. I mean, there are some people that, even like me, like I said, I didn't grow up learning about these roots. I didn't grow up learning about. I didn't even know who Frida Kahlo was or Diego Rivera until I saw the movie, and I was like, "Oh, so these are Mexican painters." And in fact, I fell in love. I actually have one of Frida Kahlo's paintings, and and I love it so much that, that if I ever saw a painting in real life, I would be like, how much would you want for that painting? Because I don't want to get it, because I love her work. I love what she's done with pieces of her art, and it's amazing to see. Diego Rivera, I don't know much about his art. I've seen only a couple of things, but his art is pretty okay, you know? Um, I didn't know much about Montañez's either, because I didn't know he had the idea of Frito-Lay until the movie came out too. I didn't know he was the inventor of Flamin' Hot Cheetos, even though that's one of the popular snacks that my coworkers love to eat almost every day. In fact, she has a desk full of them in her drawer, and she's always eating them. And I'm like, those flaming hot Cheetos? She'd be like, "Yep." So, and then another thing is my other side, which is Ecuador. Excuse me about that. Belmont. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
All right.
So talking about my other side, which is Ecuador. Ecuador is also another country that's Hispanic, but at the same time, we don't have as many opportunities either. Like over there, I went to visit that country. I didn't, well, the last time I went to go visit was back in 2017. And when I went, barely there was hardly any sign of life. Like you had to take a bus to get to um my side, which is called Manta. You had to take a little, like a little, I'm gonna say a little magic school bus that was broken down, and you had to drive through the mountains. And there you saw like a dirt road, people with llamas. I mean, it was very like old fashioned. It was not like nowadays where we have all these cars and all that. I mean, well, nowadays, I mean, 2000, from 2017, it's been a good minute since I went. They have modernized a little bit, not too much, but the women over there, they don't have as many opportunities like I do. They don't have the opportunity to drive cars because over there, it's the men that drive the cars. Women aren't allowed to drive the cars. So when I told my cousins that, I know how to drive a car, they were like, "You drive a car? You know how to do that?" I'm like, "Yes,
It's a,
I do." And they're like, "How? I mean, we're not even allowed to do that over here." I'm like, "It's the United States. Over there, we have equal rights over there as men do. There, they don't have that." And then if you go to vote in Ecuador, you have to vote. There's no you don't there's no option of where you choose not to, because if you don't vote, then they're going to knock on your door and say, "Hey, go to the poll office and go vote."
uh, even if you're 5 years old.
With kids, it's a little bit different, but if you're I think the maximum age to vote over there is like 15 or 16. That's the youngest to vote. Mexico, um, I think it's 18, and also you're legally able to drink when at 18.
Mm.
I don't know what's the age limit for Ecuador as far as for drinking wise though, because I mean over there I see everybody drinking. So just about anybody. But over there, I mean, like I said, I visited both countries. They are both very beautiful. Both live by the sea. What I can say is that this time around, actually this year around in Ecuador, it's actually a little hot over there, and it up to 100. It gets really really hot. Like I know, well, right now it's cold and chilly, but over there it's actually 100 degrees and more up there. So Mexico, same thing, about 100 degrees or so over there, depending on where you go. But yes, but we have, like I said, I mean, we have so many roots, and we are blinded by our history that we don't even know much about the history itself, about our land history, about where we come from. I mean, I know some people can go to ancestry.com and say, "Oh, hey, I'm 10% Indian, I'm 20% black, I'm 30% Jewish." Okay. Oh, and I have 5%, maybe 5% Latino, but there are so many people, again, stated like certain people that don't know much about their Hispanic roots, about their Hispanic culture, about who their heroes are. I mean, we've known so much about Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter and George Washington. I mean, there's so much, you know. But I've rarely yet to see a Hispanic Latino say, "Hey, I want to dress up as Montañez, or I want to dress up as Marion Hernandez, the first Congress to serve." Nobody, or better yet, nobody hasn't even done a report about him, or even about Santana. And I don't mean Carlos Santana, because he's another one too. And he states that himself that those people who are obliterated to history are in fact doomed to repeat their past, present, and future. That rang a bell.
strong.
Yes, I believe it is. And I believe he is right.
I do,
Because, again, not many people know about Latin history. Nobody knows it at all.
which is unfortunate and sad, to say the least.
Right, right. But I mean, you have so many. You have a lot of famous actors. You have Selma Hayek. You have George Lopez, and you have. I mean, we've got. I mean, hey, we even came out with a movie about Blue Beetle.
So there are, I mean, there are upsides, but it's just the history is not getting out there with as American history is all in there, really.
No, it's not. I mean, we're just now coming out with Blue Beetle, and we've had so many heroes. We've had people portray Captain America, white or black. We've even had Wakanda forever, and we've even had Miles Morales played as Spider-Man, which he's half black and half Puerto Rican, but still. I mean, and then there's Blue Beetle, which is Mexican, and it took a while for that to come out, a very long time. Why is that?
It's the question we ask.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We we as Mexicans, we owe it to put our faces, our names out there because again, we want to be heard. We don't want to be shut out from the rest of the world. We want to make a difference. We want to be, treated as the white man. We want, you know, to speak out and make a difference, you know? And it's very unfortunate that we don't get those opportunities. We don't get, and and me, I've been in this country for a good 31 years now. And I've seen this country change for the better and worst. And but yet, never have I seen a Mexican, you know, actually run this country as president. I mean, I'm still having hopes that one day we will actually get a Hispanic president up there, but I mean, who knows, you know?
Only time will tell, really.
Yes. And
Time
I feel like
and valued rather than wasted, so that's that as well.
right. And I feel like, that even if, it could take maybe, I don't know, this person could be any race of Latin history. And I feel like it could take a strong Latino to run this country only because he or she knows what's going on. Now, if it was a woman, I mean, I'd be damned.
We need
But if it was a guy, imagine the possibilities.
true.
Imagine. So, with that being said, and with all the history and knowledge that I have for you, what are your thoughts, questions, opinions, etc.? Because again, y'all are free to make your comments. Y'all are free to make your
We do have a comment.
what's the bigger. Okay, what's the comment?
The comment that I'm seeing currently is
Hmm?
um, how do you get yourself known in Brazil as a American? How do you go about being an American and finding a job um, coming from Brazil?
Coming from Brazil? Ooh, I mean, I'm not sure much about like immigration status and all that. I mean, I mean, are you? That depends. I mean, if you're coming over here for like, you could go on a student visa. I mean, I've seen people, go on student visas and and actually apply for those if you're wanting to do that. I mean, but as far as for immigration for that, you'd have to see as far as for what your status is as far as for getting a visa. That's the only one thing I know of. Because I had a friend, she was not Hispanic, but she was Asian, and she was currently on a visa and living here in the United States. So, um, what other questions they have that are non-immigration related?
There, I do see one question that asks um, why do you think that we are not valued in the Latin culture, in American culture?
Why we are not valued? Because I mean, we don't have holidays. I mean, yeah, there are some small holidays that we are known for, but it's like we're never like truly embraced. And take it being Independence Day. Like I said, that's not our holiday. That's not what Mexico was known for. And that's not how we got our independence. See, we're not known for people like drinking and that stuff. I mean, as stated before, I mean, September is when we won our independence. I mean, Cinco de Mayo or whomever, I'm not sure who was the idiot who created that day, but that's not ours. That's not us. We celebrate Mexico itself. We celebrate on September 21st. And that I feel is like a holiday, United States should recognize that instead of Cinco de Mayo, because again, that's not us. Even my mom to this day, she tells me, why Cinco de Mayo? I mean, I'm not really sure why, they put us as that. That's not really our independence. Kind of ticks her off when we talk about into that subject, but that's my mom for you, and she's Mexican.
Yeah.
Kind of gets a little hot headed about that.
Well, understandably.
But yes, what's the other question?
So there is another question.
Yay!
What made you brave enough to come on to an internet platform and talk about us?
What was the question?
What made you brave enough to come on to an internet platform and talk about us?
Well, that's a very good question. Going back to what I was telling you about the time when I was in middle school and I felt like, Latin history or Latinos itself, it wasn't really touched about, as much because I mean briefly we were talked about the test about the Alamo. But like I said, I stated before, what happened after that? It's like we didn't exist anymore. Briefly, we were mentioned at all. And not only that, but also I read, well, not read, but saw John Leguizamo's Latin History for Morons. And that really got me to thinking too, that, if John Leguizamo can talk about this stuff too, then I feel like it's time other people, other Latinos themselves, we speak the truth about it. Because as stated before, I mean, I didn't know much about my history. I didn't know what my roots were. I didn't know there was a Hispanic that went into space in the 1990s. Because again, that wasn't touched in any of my classes at all. I mean, even when I took Spanish 1 and 2, or Spanish 2 and 3, we didn't really much go over Latin history. Yeah, of course we talked about the culture, we spoke a little bit of Spanish, but other than that, I mean, that was pretty much it. Oh, yeah, and the teacher called me a bum because I always kept falling asleep in class
Well, you were.
because I knew the language. Yeah, her name was Miss Fabulous. She she called me a bum because I kept falling asleep in her class because it was not challenging enough for me. I mean, I
I
knew
always
basically
challenge.
everything.
I always liked the challenge too. I was like you. I pretty much knew everything in school.
Right. And I felt like I was, getting tested over the same material
Right.
and over again that I just felt like, like,
Same thing.
why am I in this class again?
Right. Put me into something I don't know that's challenging. Like we're
Right,
talking
like, I want a challenge, like, I need a when I told her that, she kind of got offended by me and was like and kinda kept picking on me in class when I was sleeping because she would be like, "Miss Velez, can you since you feel so entertained by my class, could you come up to the board and do this?" And I'm like, "Okay, Miss Velez." And I'll be like, "Sure, whatever you want." And she'll be like, "Okay, ¿cuál es la fecha hoy? Y, ¿qué hiciste ayer?" Sure. Hoy
it up and you
es el 19 de noviembre. ¿Qué hicimos? ¿Qué yo hice hoy día? Um,
you're in a
yo fui a comer con mi familia y hacer mi tarea.
were you in a Spanish class? Because that was like the easiest class in my school.
Right. For me, it was very easy
I
because I spoke Spanish.
I first took Spanish class in like kindergarten, which was something.
What?
Yeah, it was the only school um near where I live that actually had Spanish in kindergarten, and then again in middle school, and again in high school. And I mastered it every single year. Like I went in there and I knew every single word. Like I made an 100 straight 100 in class, which is really hard to do for a lot of people.
It is. I mean, I believe it because I've had a lot of classmates. Like they would always be bugging me. Like every time when I'd be sleeping, they'd be like, hey, what's this answer? And I'll be like, is this, leave me alone.
Right?
Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, don't be telling me, don't be asking me questions when I'm trying to sleep, man.
Yeah.
And then I took a Spanish. No, I took Spanish one. No, I took Spanish two in
College
I took it 2 separate years. I took it in eighth. It was either eighth grade
or-
and Spanish three, which is advanced.
wow.
Well, not really, but I took it in ninth grade.
They don't even do Spanish.
I had a Yeah, like, they broke it up, like, it was Spanish, 2 and 3, and then there's also, like, AP Spanish, which I should have been in that class, but they were like, "No, because she's too much of a moron, so we're gonna put her in Spanish 3."
More on my ass.
Hey, well, it was I wanted no, originally, I wanted to learn, German, and, that class, they couldn't find a professor for that class,
Uh,
so I didn't wanna take French because I took French in college and I failed that miserably. So, yeah, I couldn't really, the only thing I couldn't understand is my females and my males. Like, cause I would always mix up La Garçon and, the other lady. So that's why I failed French. I didn't wanna take French. I wanted to take German. I always felt like even when they spoke, they had the "hoch," the little like they're hawking up something like "hoch" when they talk, so I always felt like that. Either that or Japanese or Korean,
I know you
which I still
enjoy
am trying to learn now.
Japanese,
Oh, yes.
and that's a good
Yes, yes.
to be able to learn. It can help you in more
Mhm.
parts of the world.
Right, I'm stuck in sign language. My pops is learning sign language too,
I
and it's good. That actually
that
is really good.
fell off, like it's kind of like ASL.
Okay. Okay. Well, I got my favorite too.
Oh my god.
That's my roommate's favorite.
Of course it
it's, it's not my fault.
is. Oh, my oh.
What's the other question?
Dejo. There's a new question. Um, let me put my glasses on so I can see it.
Okay, Grandpa.
Push it. Anyways, the next question is, what are you mixed with?
That's also a very good question. I'm half Mexican and half Ecuadorian.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's the only country with an E. Sometimes it'd be funny because sometimes I would have people come up to me and they say, "Only country with an E. What is that? Ethiopia?" And I'd be like,
No,
"No, that's in Africa. I'm not.
not African.
Yeah, and plus I don't think that's in South America.
It-
That's
yeah, let's. That's way out.
What, Pacific?
Yeah, like that's not near South America, you know.
No, it's not. Yeah.
But yeah, um, that was a good question.
Mm, right. Uh-oh, seems we have a guest calling.
I'll get that.
Oh, stay tuned.
Hi, hi. Who knows? Maybe a spam caller or something.
Oh, he was just calling in with more questions. Any other questions?
Oh, there is another question.
Shocker.
So there is a question in the Q&A.
Keep coming, guys. Keep coming up with more questions.
Why am I hated in my school? It's not really a. I mean,
I have no idea. Um, I stopped going to school when I was, yeah, back in 2019.
2019.
Yeah, 2019. May 24th, 2019.
What school was that?
Camden County High School,
You went.
home of the Wildcats.
You went to AMDA. You went to AMDA.
AMDA? No, I went to Camden.
Oh, Camden. Oh,
Yes,
was that your
Camden
high
County High
school?
School. Yes, Camden County High School, CHS, Camden County
Was
High
that your
School.
high school?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Yep. That's my high school.
can you see me or am I frozen?
I can't see you. I can't see you.
You can't see me.
No, I can't see you.
Oh boy. Well, that's
Because
not good.
I'm John Cena.
Uh, well, I think I very much lagged out.
Oh, you got another phone call. See,
Uh,
they coming up with more questions.
I don't think that's the case. And how did you know it was a phone call?
I'm psychic.
Uh,
Madam Velez sees all,
I forgot.
tells all,
I totally
knows
forgot
all.
about that. Anyway, there is
Why are you,
another
why
question.
are you speaking? Why are you speaking in a Transylvanian accent? Blah blah blah.
Ah, blah, blah.
I do not go blah blah blah.
I do not go blah blah blah.
What's the question?
The question is
La
still
pregunta.
is hold
La pregunta. La pregunta. Yes, yes, we are waiting for la pregunta.
okay. Okay, the question is still, how do you get people to respect your culture?
Well, for starters, well,
Huh.
how do you get? Well, that's a very good. Well, that's a toughie, but so what I can say is, when it comes to respecting other cultures, well, expect respecting my culture in general, just make sure that because see, we're really like not strict. I mean, we're happy people. The one thing is we love to cook. We love to cook Hispanic food. Like if you're really down for like say my mom or my dad, they love they're like really good chefs in the kitchen. When it comes down to my mom's cooking, she cooks some mean ass pozole. Um like she really can. It's like really good and it's unfortunate because it's made out of pork. That's the reason why I can't eat it. But I mean, but if you like picante, she'll throw some jalapenos, whatever. Um, like she can really throw down in the kitchen,
So
and
nobody can
nobody,
see me anymore.
I can't see you. So yeah,
Uh, I'm not very happy about that.
no.
Can you hear me
But
still?
we must continue. I can still hear you. I just can't see you. But we'll continue. We'll continue. We'll continue. Um, but yeah, I mean, when it comes to other Latin cultures, just please be mindful and respectful, and and just if they offer you food, just it's always gracias,
Yeah.
no gracias. I mean, if you have like unless you're allergic to something like shrimp or crustáceos, just be like, no gracias, soy alérgica de los crustáceos, or no puedo comer camarones, or
Or be polite.
unless you just have a dietary restriction, you just simply possibly cannot eat that. So yeah, so just make sure like I said, just be mindful, be respectful, don't just come into somebody's house, put up your feet on the table and
Yeah.
and look into somebody's fridge, because that's a no. No,
Yeah, that's
like
not
yeah,
nice.
yeah. And and just like I said, it's just like, I mean, like I said, we're like easygoing people, just just don't be like and also like don't like insult us or talk bad about us, like, like say, oh, well, I heard you wetbacks, you guys did this. Cause yeah, that would not go well. And you'd probably get kicked out of my house if you called me that. So yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
be polite. We do
Yeah. But
question. We
yay.
have
Keep
a
coming.
we have another question. Seals. And the next question is oh, that's a nasty one. Are you sure you want me to read it to you?
Sure, sure.
Do all Mexicans have foreskins? Liam sent that, by the way.
Oh, Lily.
Yeah, Lily.
I'm glad you're watching. Good to see you, Lily. Good to see. Good. That's a good question. I'm gonna ask that question with another question.
Oh,
I don't know. Have you seen a Mexican with four skins? Have you? Have you? Have you? Have you?
Uh oh.
I don't know.
Burned.
So yeah.
Lily got
Hmm.
burned. I think Lily got burned.
Badly.
Yeah, it would seem so.
Have you?
Uh oh.
I don't know.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear. What's the other question?
There's another question from Lily.
Mm.
He said, "Can you please answer my question?"
Oh yeah. Okay. Keep up the same energy. Keep up the same energy. Tell, man, tell him I don't know. Okay. What kind of question is that, by the way, Lily? You just man. I don't know.
There's another. Oh God.
Where's it from, Lily again?
Yes, it's from him.
Jeez.
Do women
What?
what? Do women like force?
I'm not gonna answer that question. Jeez, Lily. I don't know.
Okay,
Damn.
block Lily from sending any more questions. We do have another question, not from Lily.
Messing up the podcast.
Right. uh. Anyways, uh, in a little while, of course, Papa
Hmm?
Superheart is going to come on.
Yay! Grandpapa.
Yes, Grandpapa Superheart is going to come on. Um, but do we have any questions about the Latin culture or anything to do with Latin culture? This
Um,
this is Nova, that um is in the podcast, and she is representing the Latin culture. In case you didn't know who she was, this is who she is. This is Nova.
wave, wave, wave.
Waving. Can you see me again, or
No, I can't see you.
somebody? Somebody said
Wave, you crazy animal.
I love Nova. She's nice, and I like her wave.
Any more questions besides what Lily
Yeah.
was it
No,
was
talk about what Mr. Rondels was. Whatever Mr. Ron.
wow.
That
Hmm.
not was not what we want to deal with.
Oh, poor Lily. He had to go bye bye.
Yes, that's but do we have any questions? Any other questions before we bring the Papa Superheart on?
Grandpapa.
Because we are going to bring him on. Hopefully we can see him. Okay, Nova,
Hmm?
I am going to X you out, and then I want you.
Aw,
Who is Marisa?
Marissa's my friend.
Well, she is in the chat.
Yay!
Oh, well, yeah, that's my side of the screen. My camera has gone out.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
But yeah,
real quick, I am going to X you out, and I want you to join back, okay?
okay, but yeah, guys, just quick message about this about Latin history is just guys, don't ignore it. The truth is out there. It's up to us to figure out as far as for who are who where we come from, how long we've been around, and who our heroes are.
Well, you are coming back here.
'Cause I know, but I just want to make that a statement. I just want to make sure that we're not just ignoring this.
Yeah.
This. I mean, our culture is too much. It's too rich to ignore, and I feel like as stated several times, that this needs to be reached out to the world. So, and all I can say is, just do your research, you know, find out the truth because, again, the truth is out there. But that being said, like and subscribe, be excellent to each other, and we'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
We'll be back shortly. Nova. Nova.
Mhm.
I would like you, once you get X'd out, just click back onto the link, alrighty? So I can add you back
That you're going to send me.
to
That you're going to send me.
the same one. It's the same one. It's
Okay.
alrighty. Okay, so can anybody see me? I don't know. The whole screen seems to be black. Uh Very sorry that the screen is black. Um I thought that maybe that would help if I uh re-added her. So nobody can see me. Uh okay, we're going to add her back. Um but we're also going to add Papa SuperHart in and let him explore the the area of not being in the same room as me. And we're going to add Miss Nova back. Uh she should be back any second. Once I get the request, I will be adding her back. I hope that alrighty, she is getting added back. And welcome back, Nova.
Yay.
Welcome back, Nova. Are you happy to be back?
Oh yes, glad to be back. Always a pleasure for you guys to have me on the podcast.
Well, I am glad that you are still able to be on the podcast. I'm very glad to hear that. Um, we do have a question.
Hmm?
When Black culture,
I didn't hear you. What was that again?
someone asked, when is Latin History Culture Month? Like, when is it celebrated?
Latin history. Okay, so Latin history is celebrated in it starts in September 15th and ends on October 15th. All right. What's the other question?
Um, Let me see. There should be another question. Because I'm getting a notification.
Hmm?
Uh, it's another immigration type question.
Okay.
Someone asks, why is it so hard to immigrate to America?
Well, that I'm not really too sure. I mean, I mean, going back to my mom because she's not. I mean, she had to get. She was a she wasn't a citizen. I mean, she became a citizen when she got her citizenship down here, but I'm gonna say this: immigration is was a lot has been they've changed it years and years and years. So it's just been, I guess, a little bit tough because so much has changed. Kind of the same thing with IDs. I mean, they've changed the policy of how they create IDs now because so many people are creating fake IDs. So back then in the 90s, for somebody who had a computer, they could create a fake ID and then, it could be shown just, like a regular ID back in the 90s. But nowadays, it's tough because IDs nowadays have a little symbol in the back that you can't really fake. So, and then same thing with immigration. I mean, there's rules and policies and procedures that have taken place that you can't even affect now. So, but but yes. What's the other question?
Well, I don't see more questions, Miss Nova. So, is there anything
Um,
you'd like to discuss?
is Papa Superheart on air?
Well, he would like to go on air whenever you're done. He does not want to disturb your
N-
he does not want to disturb your podcast.
No, no. I mean, he can come on. I mean, we ended our Latin history podcast
We
for
are
the first one. So yeah. So
alrighty. Well, with that being said, I am very glad, and I was very glad that you were able to join and discuss this matter. That I mean, I don't think anybody else was going to. And I'm very glad that you were able to join and be on this podcast, Nova. And I hope that everybody enjoyed having Nova on the podcast. This will not be the last thing you see Nova in for sure. There are a lot of other things coming up that me and Nova will be getting into. We won't spoil too much, but when the time comes, you will know. And with that being said, I am very happy to have had you on this podcast, Nova.
and a round of applause.
And a round of applause for Nova.
And the crowd goes wild.
And the crowd goes wild. And something I've always wanted to say to you, Miss Nova. Good night, Gracie.
It's not my fault.
So, everybody, stay tuned as the next podcast will soon be on air. And yes, we will be both on half of a screen, but it will be okay, all right? I think it'll be okay. So, stay tuned. So, thank you for staying tuned, everybody. I'm glad to see that everybody had a patience that not many people have. And now that you have stayed tuned, I will be introducing Papa Superheart onto the next segment of this podcast. Now, stay tuned for about 2 seconds and you will see the both of us. It is. Alrighty, guys. Here we are.
Well,
We
good
are
afternoon,
live
everybody.
again.
Um, we're here. I just woke up from a nap, and actually, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I know we're going to talk about something to do with humans.
Humanity, I think, was the
It's
subject.
humanity. Okay. Well, let's roughly go over some stuff, and then we'll get to doing whatever we're going to do. We have come to the point. Where are you going now?
I'm right here.
He disappeared.
I'm right here.
He
I'm
disappeared.
coming back.
He's like Casper. He disappeared.
I am back.
We have, since I have last been on, a situation which is very troubling. Uh, it's causing a lot of situations in the world. And one of those situations is the fact that the United States lacks any leadership. We have a zombie in the White House, a complete zombie. And we have somebody that is second in charge who is just I don't know. She's just not qualified for that job. Now, if you think I'm talking as a Republican in the United States, you're very wrong. I'm just trying to tell the truth. I'm not worrying about whose feelings I'm hurting or not. That's one of the things you have to worry about in the United States. You can't say, "Boy, your dress is pretty." Somebody is objecting to you being a sexist. So the humanity of today has got to change, or something is just going to
Go wrong.
not only go awry, it may finish off uh, any chance for humans to continue to um, circulate on this planet. It's not because I think the planet's going to blow up. I think the humans are going to blow up. I have no
I agree.
I have no doubt that the planet can't blow itself up. It's had a billion, 2 billion, I don't know, 17 billion. Who knows how many billions of years this place has been here? So it's not that. It's that we have terrorist groups all over the world now. And supposedly we're supposed to be better informed and better uh, tactically than the haters that comprise these groups, whether they're white groups, pink groups, yellow groups, black groups. It doesn't matter. These people hate anything.
Yeah.
You could hand them a chocolate cookie, and there'd be something wrong with the chocolate cookie. So you're not gonna uh, win with these people. Because it's a shame, and I have to say the next thing. I mean, this is it's just somebody's got to say it, and uh, I got enough uh, health issues that somebody coming over here to chop my head off uh, is really not going to bother me. It might help me anyway. You got these hate groups, and the only way you're going to get them off of you and out of your hair and not trying to destroy everything that uh, a lot of people have worked hard for. Is you have to kill them. That's just as simple as I know how to say it. And the judicial system, if I kill somebody, if I kill somebody, I just walk up to somebody and stab them in the chest 4 times. That's what you ought to do to me. You ought to just stick me 4 times. Instead, you get a defense lawyer who says I'm nuts. They put me in the nut house. I manipulate the nut house, and they let me go in 2 or 3 years. And I can do what I was doing before because they can't rehab me. That's the problem in the world now is we're not handling, as we said the last time we talked, mental health.
Oh yeah.
We're not handling mental health. If I did something like that, I'm a mental health case. Normal people don't walk up to somebody and start stabbing them, but we've had a bunch of that in the country, and these people that did it are still walking around. So I think they should come for the people that are listening that just think that this is just this guy's just nuts. Fine, we'll send these people over to your house, and we'll let you deal with them because you believe that you can talk them out of whatever it is you're going to talk to them about, and that's just not the way they work. They don't have that kind of mindset. Their mindset is to, I want to take your house. I mean, look at the number of squatters.
Right.
Look at the number of squatters. You take a 2-month vacation with your wife or your husband, and you come back, and there's 4 people living in your house, and they go to court and they take your house away from you. Now, what kind of justice is that for hardworking people? Don't matter what color they are. What is that about? But we have a spineless president. Uh, John F. Kennedy wouldn't have put up with this. He's a Democrat. George Bush didn't put up with it. Uh, at least Obama tried to do something. Uh, he's somewhat of a pacifist. So that's what's happened is our leadership has tanked, and we can't even find a tank big enough for them because they're so full of tanking. And politics and politicians, they're only making things about 42 times worse because it's all about money with them. And money don't bring you love. It's not going to. And the more is wasted, the more you can't help people who are trying, who are struggling, who are doing what they're supposed to be doing, which is showing up every day for work, who are trying to take care of their wife and kids, and they can't make it because the people that they're working for keep giving themselves raises, but they don't think about who it is that's really running the ship. I mean, look at Walmart. Look at Walmart. Walmart would be nothing without the doorman, without the people on the floor, the department managers, the people that come in and put the groceries on the thing. It's the same way at a Publix. Excuse me. It's the same way at a Winn Dixie. You have to take care of the people who are taking care of the public, and you need to find people who understand how to take care of the public. You can't have a sourpuss representing your business. You go out of business. The public needs to put sourpuss people out of business. Why would you want to buy stuff from a sourpuss with a negative attitude all the time, can't find anything good? So we have all kinds of personalities in the world. Excuse me. And they don't sit down and talk to each other and try to find something to agree on. They just, well, I hate you and I know you hate me, so let's just we'll both leave at the same time, and therefore nothing is done and nothing is improved, and everybody keeps going like they want to go. Oh, I wonder why that is. Oh, let's see why that is. Oh my God, is this me? Bunch of people, even people my age, 78 years old. It's all about me. I'm a 78-year-old dude. It's about me. You got to take care of me. And I need instant gratification. I'm not going to sit here and wait 30 seconds. I ought to have it right now. You cannot overcome that. Humans cannot overcome that. They won't overcome it. They won't overcome it. Now, why is the United States having so much trouble inside of it? They've let everybody and their brother into this country. They've let a lot of wonderful people into this country who work hard, who outwork people that have been in the United States for 30 years. They work harder than some of their better citizens by becoming a citizen than citizens who are citizens. I just had that uh, experience with someone from one of the communities, and they were a joy to be around because they appreciated the fact that America had let them come in and have a chance to improve their life because where they were living, and I'm not going to mention where they were living, wouldn't do that and wasn't about to do that and wasn't going to do that. But we've let too many people in the country who are outlaws, spies, um, who and other kinds of things, murderers, uh, you know. At the same time, we've got all these wonderful people in. But it's not the wonderful people that are going to get the airtime. It's the nasty people. That's what the press uh, values more.
The media.
That's what I'm talking about. The media.
Yeah, the media. The press.
But we could get rid of this problem by lining the media up and shooting them first. And I don't own a gun, so I don't want all of you out there to think, well, I'm just a gun toting. Let's just shoot first and ask questions last. A gun is the last resort. It should be the last resort. That's the situation. It's not the last resort anymore. It's the first resort. And I saw a sign the other day on a car that I think would make somebody that would do this in a uh, huge way defund the politicians. Now, that's a very wonderful idea. Defund the politicians. If you can name something they've done for you in the last, I don't care, 70 years of your life, 60 years of your life, 50 years, 40, 30, 20, you probably need to write that down and, uh, you know, share it with people because all these people are they become worthless. They don't do anything. The House of Representatives in this country is elected to pass a budget, just like the legislature of the state that you live in is it comes up with a budget. The state that you live in cannot deficit spend. They can't print money. They can't deficit spend. But the federal government, I don't even know how many trillions of dollars we're in debt. It's 30 something $trillion already. Okay. How are you getting that much debt? Oh, that could be because you're trying to police the world. Police the world. How come some of these other countries can't help police the world? Because they want the United States to do it. Uh, you have to take care of yourself first. If you have cancer and your best friend has cancer, I believe you if you tell me it's nothing to do with your friendship with this other person. It has to do that you should be selfish enough. I mean, I don't like this word selfish either, but you should be selfish enough for you to be able to survive this. You hope your friend will, but you can't worry about him like you worry about yourself because you got the same chance to die that they do. Some of these, some of these words, like you're telling somebody something, and you're telling it like it doesn't work in your life. Well, that's a bunch of bull. I'm the president of every wrong thing that you can think of. And I'm okay admitting to that. It's okay. You're not going to die from it. You need to take responsibility for your actions. It's a lost art. Nobody wants to do that. I've made a mistake, but I don't want to be responsible for it. But it's not my fault. It's everybody else's fault. It's not. Well, I mean, I can't do anything about what's going on in the world. I'm one person. And we can only fix this as humanity if we want to fix it. And if we don't want to fix it, we're going to have AI, artificial intelligent things. They're going to take every job. They're going to take every job. And then, of course, let me tell you what's going to happen. Walmart, Publix, uh, Macy's, Dillard's, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, those kind of people who have a checkout issue. They are putting more self checkouts in the stores and dealing with less humans. They've all been doing it for years. Okay. Well, it's now being shown that ain't working. Gee, Monday, Christmas. Would you think about that? Oh my God, I can't even understand that. I would have never have put a self checkout in my store. The people that are best at it in the grocery business is Publix. They put some self checkout things in, found out that's not who the public wanted to deal with, took half of them out, which gave them back their old selling space, and you can go into Publix, and there'll be 8 or 9 cashiers, and it's human contact on human contact. Oh my God, what a novel idea that is! Oh my God, can you believe that? What, that's a novel idea, right? I just came up with a novel idea. That's astounding. That's astounding. Me coming up with an idea. Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know, Atriel. I don't even know if we can continue having me do these things. Oh my God. But the only thing that I know about that situation is that my attitude for, oh, by the way, if you want to know that I'm talking to you about this and I do everything online, I don't do social media. I don't even know how to spell that. I'm not interested in that. You're going to have to call my landline for the most part to talk with me, and landlines are obsolete. And oh my God, here's another one. I'm obsolete now. Gee, you know what? I'm falling apart. I'm doing everything wrong. How could I still be here? I'm not doing anything right. That's amazing that I can even live through the day. with all the things. Yeah, I don't do anything that most people do. That can't be tolerated. Somebody's gonna come over to the house and put me out of my misery because I'm not joining the screaming to the technology. Screaming. People are screaming to get to the technology. Oh, I've got to get the technology. For what? For what? You can't talk to me now. If you could give me more, you understand that. When I've asked you questions before of your generation, I get a one-word answer. A one-word answer. Why get a one-word answer? You don't want to do it other than one word. Why'd you get a mouth? Why? I don't understand that. You got a mouth and you don't. Well, why did you get a mouth put on? I'm trying to understand this stuff. I'm a dumbass. You know, and it's just something that needs to be changed about humanity if they want to survive. Because at the rate they're going, human beings are not going to be part of this planet much longer. It may take another 1,000 years, but humans are not going to be part of part of this planet. And now we're in a period of time where the birth rate is going down everywhere. Even in China, the birth rate is going down. Uh, China has you would never know it because the press doesn't point out anything they do wrong. The press just points out everything they do right, which is, they're bound to do something right. They got 4 to 5 billion people living there. I don't even know how they feed all of each other. I mean, in its own way, China, if everybody in their country is eating and not having to go into the starvation mode, that is a absolute plus to feed 4 by 5 billion people. So what if the farmers can't end up in the United States producing enough food to feed Americans? Because Guatemala can't help us, Colombia can't help us, France can't help us, Britain can't help us, Israel can't help us, Gaza Strip can't help us. Who's going to help us? Who do you think's going to help us?
Nobody if we can't help ourselves.
Preston, you are right sharp today. Yourself with a tack. Is that what's made you so sharp today?
No, it was a piece of glass. But
it was. So, we have to reevaluate, in my mind, what we actually need for us to accomplish what we need. And when you take everything for granted, uh, it becomes a mess. Which, if you take everything for granted, you deserve a mess.
And that's where we are right now.
I mean, let's take the Gaza Strip. Let's talk about the Palestinians first, even though I'm Jewish. Let's talk about the Palestinians. Okay, they were put into an area for their own. Okay, what have they done? They certainly hadn't fed their people. Now, is that the United States' fault? Is that Israel's fault? Is that Britain's fault? Is that France's fault? How about Egypt or Jordan, Saudi Arabia? I mean, are they supposed to feed those people? They're not into education. What they're doing is they're training the kids so that 10 years from now, the 6-year-old will be 16, and they give him an AK-40 and send him out to die uh, for whatever the cause is. That that's just not good, and that makes no sense, and it reeks of stupidity. So if you don't like it, I can't help it. I mean, you got to face the truth head on. You know, it, the Israelis could move to another country and leave all that they've done in Israel there. And I still don't believe the Palestinians would do anything but want where Israel went.
Yeah.
And you're taking it that I'm anti-Palestinians. I'm not anti-Palestinians. They have a history.
Yeah.
They don't have my history. They have their history. And their history is not good.
Nope.
It's not good. And now they're loose in the United. You know, we let all these people in, and we didn't watch them. And the Manchurian candidates are now the ones that are in front of the White House. Uh, you know, that are causing trouble, and you couldn't go to their place and cause trouble. They would shoot you.
Wow.
Now that's unbelievable, isn't it? Let's see. I can't go protest at their place. They'll shoot me. They can come protest at my place, and they get a candy bar.
Right.
Now that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Lots of sense.
You know what though? If it ain't a Reese's, I'm not eating it. It has to either be a Reese's or a Hershey's Kisses.
Got to be a Reese's or
Otherwise,
Kit
I'm
Kat
going to
for me.
send you back to get me the candy that I want because I have to have instant gratification. See, and it's all about me. I want what I want, and I want it now. So you need to go over there and get me my stuff. I ain't moving fast enough. Now, does that make any sense?
Nope.
Okay. Well, that's the world you live in,
Today.
my
Today.
young man. No, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
Not going to get better. There's nothing in place for it to get better.
It's true.
There's just nothing in place to make it get better. And humanity does not seem to be able to live in peace. And they have, you know, the Jewish world has been, uh, what is the word? Uh, they, they've been writing history for 5,700. They, what is it they call it? Describing. They've been scribing the world history for 5,784 years. And most every page is about war, 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 disagreement, war, can't get along, war, disagreement, can't get along, this did that, they did that. It's really
Pitiful.
it's an indictment. It's an indictment on humanity. So let's see. I can text somebody in Canada and get a reply. I couldn't do this 40 years ago. There were wars 40 years ago. I can't remember what wars they were. Probably one of them was Vietnam. Maybe that was later. Maybe that was in the 70s. I think that was in the 70s. So you can go back 40 to 50 years, and there was wars. Mankind cannot live in peace. They don't know how to do that. They have no concept of how you do that. They got nobody else to blame. And I hold my hand up and tell you I'm part of it. I may be the primary reason that the world is like it is. Blame me. I can handle it. I got peace of mind. I can handle it. Because if you don't want to accept responsibility for your actions, which unfortunately we have too many people that don't, won't, and not interested in doing that. You know, they spill a dozen eggs in the grocery store and run out the door. Run out the door. Let's see. A $3 does for a dozen eggs. They run out the door. They hadn't even got the guts and the courage to take responsibility for a $3 accident. And the grocery store may not even charge them. They may say, "Go back and get." But see, they're out in the parking lot now. They're in the car, cranking the car up. But the but we're never going to improve until we, the people, want to improve. It's just like a presidential election. Anyway, if the people that are running your place, but see, there's not a lot of open elections anymore. The head of turkey is going to be the head of turkey till he don't feel like being the uh, trying to think of what he's called in Iran. I mean, he's going to serve until he's dead. The same thing with the Chinese premier. He's going to serve until it's possible that he'll get some point in time booted out of office because they have a big, I think they have a big election committee. I'm not sure of that. I'm not sure much of anything. You know,
Yeah.
I'm stupid, and I admit that. I don't know where to take this conversation anywhere except to continue to talk honestly because you, everybody that's listening to this podcast, the person speaking in this podcast, the director of this podcast, which is my grandson, we're all not making ourselves part of the solution. We are continuing to make ourselves part of the problem. We have to learn how to be part of the solution. But if somebody came along with a solution, they'd probably get shot.
It's true. No solutions.
So that is the reason that humanity ain't gonna be around.
Like MLK, he had a solution.
Who did?
MLK, he had a solution,
Well, you see, that was during.
but he got shot.
Yeah, that was a shame.
John F. Kennedy, he had a solution. What happened to him? Assassinated.
That's a whole. You could talk about that for an hour too, because I can't believe one uh, low-ranking, uh, mentally disturbed person could do all the things that had to happen for him to be able to kill the president. I just, and I don't know that we're ever going to know that. You know.
Probably right.
But anyway, let's talk a little bit about the technology.
Big part of humanity.
Well, who's creating it?
Humanity.
Why are they creating it?
Can't answer that question.
Well, they think it's going to make their life easier. But if they can find robots to answer the phones at Pizza Hut and deliver the goods themselves by having the ability to drive a car or fly, they may end up flying.
They do have. They already have flying things.
Drones. Okay. So they don't need a human being for a damn thing. So now what are you going to be able to, how are you going to be able to live in your house? How are you going to buy a car? Oh, forget all that. How are you going to buy underwear?
True.
Oh my God. Everybody's going to have to go camera. And the problem with that is they won't be able to wear pants or a dress or pants that women wear. Everybody be naked. That's Southern naked.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay. I just wanted you to understand that. So we have a distinct, huge entity called humanity that won't deal with their situation. And if somebody comes along that's a good leader, that leader gets,
Killed.
tossed into the rubble, or they go back and find something that this person did at 15 years old. They're now 59. That's 44 years ago. Am I supposed to continue to punish for something I did 44 years ago? If I murdered somebody, I should be. If I robbed a bank, I should be. If I spied and stole secrets, I should be. But that's not what I did. I might have been caught with the wrong woman. No, I didn't kill anybody. I didn't rob anybody. You know. So it's the hypocrisy is just it's just I don't even know where to start with that. I don't even know where to start with that word. I've talked about that word already in the podcast, uh, but I don't really know how to address that word because humans do hypocrisy uh, to the degree that there's no cure for it.
No.
It's like the Parkinson's I've got. There's no cure to it.
No.
It's just going to always be that way.
It's true.
So you know, humanity's got to start looking themselves in the mirror. I'm just telling you, I'm as guilty as as the people that do this. I've said a lot of hypocritical things. I'm a human. I can't help it. But it ends up when everybody does. Somebody's got to tell the truth, and somebody's got to be believed. I have an interesting question. Okay, if somebody came on one of the networks, PBS, CNBC, MSNBC, Fox. There's some new there's some new Newsmax, people like that, and said, "I am Jesus Christ. I have come back," and has the 6 or 7 things that might prove that. Do you think that person would be believed? That person would be dead before morning. And the reason might be because really down deep, still have to have something to believe in.
That's true.
So they don't want to get rid of. They say that they want this entity, Jesus Christ, to come, but when he comes, if he comes, they're not going to believe it. So I don't understand the emotion of that. Never have. Maybe we should do some boning up and make one of our future podcasts the uh,
About religion.
yeah, because that's a hard thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Religion has killed more people than all the nuclear weapons they could ever put out there. They could destroy all of America. They could destroy all of China. They still ain't close to the number of people in the history of the world that have been killed because in the name of religion. Yeah, that's another indictment. Sounds like I don't like the churches and the temples. I don't. I like for people to be what they are. A good Christian doesn't do what all these people do that are destroying stuff, hating people, destroying black, for the most part, mom and pop stores. How nasty can you get? Can you get? These people work hundreds and hundreds of hours a week to feed their family for somebody to come along and burn their business because the people that burn the business are mad about something. Why don't you go burn the things that need to be burned? You should make a tree of hypocrisy and burn that. You should make a tree of dishonesty and burn that. Greed, you need to burn that. You don't need to be burning down black mom and pop stores. That's sick. It's kind of like I'm not an egomaniac, but my business is on an island. And if they wanted to tear down the dunes, I'd go do what that brave young man from China did many years ago. I'd go stand in front of the bulldozer. I mean, I got nothing to lose. See, I got nothing to lose. But I would do it anyway because I'm not an egomaniac, but I know what's right not to do. And it's not right to get rid of dunes. That's not right. You stand for something. You just can't stand for me and instant gratification. I had a car the other day. I didn't tell you this. We were stopped at a stop light, and I was in the turn lane. I was in the turn lane, and the light was going to turn green because the thing, the little thing up on the pole said zero. This car came around the driver's side to cut me off going left as he went straight down the road. I don't know who the driver was. I don't know what gender the driver was. But if you're in that big a hurry, you ought to hit the phone pole down the street there and die, and let's throw you in a grave, and we won't have to fool with you tomorrow. And that sounds stupid. It sounds like I'm a crazy person. I'm I'm the president of that club too. President of that club too. But why you need to be in that hurry? When I was 16, I was in a hurry. When I was 30, I was in a hurry. I never did anything like that. The rudeness of what's happening today is just beyond comprehension. The rudeness, the rudeness, and that goes to parenting. Either the schools are not dealing with the rudeness, or can't handle the rudeness because if they do, there's something racial about it, and they'll get fired because of the color of their skin. Could be a black person, could be a white person, could be the things that certain people can get away with. Um, Somebody was asking me the other day about why something happens to a black person that the right reverend brother doctor, what's his name, uh, I'm trying to think of his name, uh, brother doctor Sharpton. He'll go and protest just like the young man that died in this town by three white rednecks who should already be dead, but they're living off taxpayer money, and they're not dead, but they ought to be dead. I want them living in my community. I don't want them living in my state. I don't even want them living in my country. That ain't the kind of person I want. But he didn't go to Memphis, Tennessee, when a black man killed a lady that was out jogging, who was the mother of 2 or 3 children. Uh, was, a nice person, but he didn't go over there and protest. It's okay in his mind for white people to get killed, but not black people. Now, see, nobody's dared to say that in this country. I dared to say it. I just said it. The reason I can say all this stuff, is I'm in peace with myself. If I died right now, that's the way it'd be. I've had a great life. I've done things nobody else has done, and there's only one of me. That's the fun of me. Quoting a song. Oh my God. I'm now quoting songs. This is getting bad. I, I think it's time for my nap. But we've got to get honesty back in the thing where people can talk to each other without, you know, wanting to stomp on each other. I have a group of friends that can do that. We do it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoon. We're as diverse a group as you can come up with. We're all white people, but we still don't agree on everything. Never will. And I told you, I don't know, I think I told this audience that I have young black people who are married to beautiful women, who have beautiful children, who work 80 hours a week, that their community is calling Uncle Tom. Now that's just awful. That is so awful. What the people that are calling them Uncle Toms are trying to say is, you're hurting our image because you're successful. You're hurting my image because I'm successful. They do it in the white community. They just that the term is not Uncle Tom. I don't know what the term is. Okay, I don't know what the term is. So now people are at the point where they don't want people to succeed. Well, how can humanity succeed if they don't want humanity to succeed? Some oxymoron. Mm. I can't spell that, but I know how to say it. Oxymoro. Well, listen, I probably don't remember that. You remember how old I am? Remember that kind of quick. Oh, you're going to start doing this now. X, Y. See, I thought there'd be an I there. M, O, R, O, N. I like the end of that. That was really cool. Yeah. So I don't know what else. I don't know how much time we got left. I don't even know how much time we were making. Your leg is in the way. They can't see my beautiful face. My leg is in the way. You mean you think that it was my leg? Yeah. Well, I didn't put my leg up like. Did I just
Yes,
do that?
yes, you just did, and you just did it again.
So that was really my leg?
That was your leg.
Stay down there, leg. Dang leg.
Well, it's been.
Well, I'm not in charge of this, so For you to tell me that it's been a while doesn't mean anything.
Well, you've been on the air. I mean, I've been on the air for almost about 2 hours. You've been on the air for almost an hour.
Well, by the time I get my hour.
You need to get your hour. You're about at 50 minutes on air.
I got to kill 10 more minutes.
I think so.
No, let's take a machete to it.
It's time for my nap.
Well, if we take a machete to 10 more minutes, how are we going to do that?
I don't know.
To a non-existent thing. But it's non-existent. Why would I pick a non-existent thing?
Oh. Don't know.
You can't figure that one out. But welcome to the club. I can't figure that out either. I blurted it out of my big mouth before I thought about it with my little brain. Okay, so I think we should
let the questions roll in.
Are there some questions?
There are a couple questions.
Well, let's have them.
So, somebody said, "What is an oxymoron?"
Moron.
There's.
I'd explain to this young person what an oxymoron.
Well, my definition of an oxymoron is when you're so hypocritical that you just allow someone to do one thing, and if another person did something, then it would just be not okay.
Yeah, it's about person A doing something because he's politically correct, uh, considered, and then somebody that's not considered politically correct does something, and they're kind of shunned, but they're saying the same thing, and they're saying it at another table the same way the first person said. It's an oxymoron. What's the next question?
Why was there a split podcast?
Well, you have to ask the director that. I just show up when I'm told to. He woke me up from a nap, I have you know. Right after my wife woke me up from a nap, I'll have you know. Two of my favorite people.
Well, I wanted to introduce someone else.
Yeah.
Uh,
Introduce your mother. And introduce my daughter.
Hello, Mama.
Well, I guess he doesn't want to be on a podcast. Okay. So back to what we got to figure out something that we're going to talk about next.
Well, we got something.
What we got?
We have
another question.
No, I believe it's the.
You mean out of all these millions of people, I only had two questions?
Millions of people. No. But there were questions earlier, Pablo.
Well, what were they?
You weren't on here.
Well, that's good. Two questions is about all I got in me. My brain don't probably work after two questions. Can you get one more question and just see if I can do three?
I don't see any. So I'm gonna end the Q&A. And
I don't need another question. It's okay.
Alrighty.
So let's kind of recap what we've done here.
Oh, the United States of Corruption is next week.
Next week,
Yes.
well, I don't know about that. I think everything's corrupt. The almighty dollar is corrupt, and since everybody has some kind of form of money, they're all corrupt. And that would be a very short podcast because that's the only way you can deal with corruption. Is everybody's into corruption that has enough moolah to be corrupt.
Well, then,
But we'll try to do that if you want. I don't have any idea what I'm going to say. I mean, I didn't have any idea what I was going to say today.
well, you seem to.
That's because I'm a genius. Spell that.
G E N I U S.
Who's a genie? And I was a big fan of This Is Us. So if you put that together, that's genius. My daughter is not today have a sore spot. Well, I can't do anything about a sore spot. Let me go get some Bengay. Okay, listen, we've had a great time today. We're ending on a good note, which is laughter. We need more laughter. You've got to quit thinking and laughing at the same time. You got to just only laugh and let the thinking go. That's what gets you in trouble.
Yes.
Particularly on a golf course. That's about it for today.
Well,
I've enjoyed talking to the two of you.
the two of us.
Well, I doubt that there's more than two people that watch this.
Well, anyway, we'll see.
So for the two of you that were out there that asked one question apiece, I'm very thankful that you had a question.
No questions were really on topic.
Oh, they were talking about news.
No, just other stuff.
Other stuff. Okay. Other stuff, I'll tell you good night now.
Well, I will let you hear.
Oh, you're going to let me say good night?
I will let you say good night.
Well, let me think of how to do this. Good night, Gracie.